To our next speaker then. So Gerardo Sanchez is with the European Environment Agency. His talk is on European action for a healthier environment. So Gerardo, over to you.
Thank you, Alan. Thanks, everyone. Hello, my name is Gerardo Sanchez. It's 2 Spaniards in a row. What do you say? Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm always inspired. When I was in Maria, we actually did work together at WHO for many years. And what I say is a little bit of a continuation of the messages that is talked about, right? Like how to reach the people, how to actually make a change. Because quite honestly, when I come to conferences on environment and health, I feel like a little bit trapped like in the Groundhog Day. I hear the same things all the time, and I feel that the only change will come from the ground, right? When people care about these things, and they care about these things deeply, right? So I was invited to talk about European action on environment and health, and there were so many things we could say, right? But I'm here to talk about my book, which was published recently on the 3rd of May. And that is the Environment and Health Atlas. It took us so long and so much work, precisely because it's become so simple, right? Just shaving anything that was unnecessary and trying it 1,000 times. It is a communication product, and so as such, you will not find many of the things that scientists and engineers are looking for, direct download of data and, like sort of filtering of things and stuff. It's just supposed to be a very simple set of messages. It is a web platform, it is an atlas, it is a gateway to our information and assessments. You can find all the data there. And it is also a deliverable under the Zero Pollution Action Plan. As you will see, actually, it has a lot of contents that are related to pollution. It is a very clear narrative for the citizen, simply that the environment affects your health for good and for bad. So if it's an unhealthy environment, it can harm you. If it's a healthy environment, quiet areas, it can help you, it can heal. Green spaces, they can heal. So that is as simple as it gets, and that's what we want to get across, because quite honestly, for a lot of people in Europe, that's news. Actually, they don't think about this, they don't give it a second thought, right? Air pollution is something that people think about now and then in some places, and they don't even understand that people are dying every day, that they are developing asthma, that it is aggravating their COPD, that is costing a ton of money to health systems. We looked a lot at what we had learned from other products so that we wouldn't make the same mistakes. So, for instance, we looked at our comms department had looked hard at how people interact with our website, and they could see a very clear heat map that all the contents had to be on top for people to look at them, and that they make a little bit of a Z there. So it's like anything that is not there is going to be lost. And also, we, of course, it's an atlas, right? So the maps is the backbone, but we wanted to make it more personal by having a functionality to check your own place, and then have gateways to more complicated messages and contents, like with videos and an environmental health index that we'll talk about later. So one of the main things that we decided from the beginning was not to create new technologies for this. There's always, when you gather technicians in the room, there's always like an inertia to do something new and exciting and complicated. And I said, none of that. I mean, that's expensive, it's complicated, it's unnecessary. What we want is to get a message across. What technologies do we have that we can use already to get that message across in the simplest way possible, right? So no developing new technologies. That would have eaten up 95% of our budget with no actual added value, I think, for the messaging. We wanted to make it personal, and so we saw an example from our Dutch colleagues at the National Institute of the Environment. There was something that they call check your place or check your address, and we loved it. And so we talked to them and say, okay, can we learn from you on what not to do particularly? We also wanted to learn from their mistakes, and they were very gracious, and they told us everything that worked, that didn't work. And so particularly they told us, listen, this is going to be a living product, particularly this one, where with the feedback of people, you'll be able to make it better and understand what about it is relevant and what isn't. And even since we published it just a week ago or a couple of weeks ago, people have been getting back to us, I don't understand this. And like many of them have said, I don't understand the same thing. So that one is going to be a goner, right? So it's like we're going to react quickly on those things and adapt it. We also have used this to look at EU-wide correlations. So for instance, what you're looking at here is a map where in the yellow to brown scale, you see GDP per capita adjusted by purchasing power. And so you see a gradient, no surprise there, where the darker areas are towards the south and towards the east. But superimposed on that is a grill of the most polluted 20% regions concerning PM 2.5, right? And so you can see also there's a great spatial coincidence there. So not only are the people poorest there, also those are the most polluted areas. And so this became an EEA official indicator where we are comparing the quintiles of the richest and the poorest and how they're doing in terms of pollution. And what we found is that those inequalities are about like a third higher pollution levels for the poorest, and they have not changed. So in the last 20 years, the inequality has not reduced. It actually has increased a little bit. They both have done better, right? So the pollution levels have gone down for everyone, but they haven't gone down more for the most polluted, which we would hope it would happen, right? So we organize the content around major topics: air pollution, environmental noise, water, and within that we had to choose very carefully what to put: climate, green spaces, and inequalities. We have developed as well an environmental health impacts index, which is like a complicated way to say we just put together some environmental burden of disease estimates with selected indicators. But what happens is we've got a new data, and so we've decided to wait and publish it already with 2 time points instead of only 1. So we're going to be publishing this index in November or December, depending on when the new data comes. And we're going to be updating it, we're hoping every year, but of course we depend on the data updates, as we do as well for the overall atlas. So we're hoping that we'll have enough new data to do a twice-a-year update of the actual products. We'll, of course, update the contents much more frequently in terms of indicators and trying to make it a little bit fresh. And we'll, of course, be collecting, we're already collecting and systematizing the feedback that we got from the mailbox of the Atlas so that we'll improve design and make bigger changes, hopefully also twice a year, perhaps if it's major, only once a year. We hope that the users will find it intuitive, empowering, and useful, because quite honestly, the idea here is for us to kind of like bypass all levels of governance and reach directly to the citizen, and so empower them so that they can talk to their political representatives and demand change. So we have been told, and we're very happy about that it's much easier for them to find information through our products and this atlas than through their national. I mean, of course, it's sad, but we're happy to to hear that they can find the information that they need to act. We think that really is exactly what we're looking for here. So let me see if I can try and make it work there. It's going to be a little strange because I need to look this way, and I don't even know where the mouse is. Yeah, there you go. Okay. So anyhow, you can see that all the contents, as we mentioned, are organized there on top. So the homepage, the check your place, the maps, which is the backbone, and the learn more. The maps are, as I mentioned, the backbone of this product. And so the structure that we have in all of those thematic maps is always the same. So we have the area that we're looking at. So in this case, air pollution. We have Sorry, this is incredibly confusing. Let me see if I... We have also, within each one of the topics, the various maps that we can look at. So in this case, for instance, is population exposed to air pollutants, right? And so beyond a certain level. And so we are selecting sort of the main pollutants that we're featuring here. So like a PM2.5, NO2, and ozone are the most common that we are featuring. And so we have concentration, we have population exposed, we have mortality, and we have many others. Let me see if I can actually try and find it. It's very, very complicated to... there you go. There. So as you can see, it's organized around these 6 thematic areas. This may change, but we felt that we had the most data and the most evidence around these areas, and so we may add, but not many. For air pollution is the area for which we have the most amount of information. We have massive data flows coming through the EEA from the countries, validated almost in real time. And so what we have done here is taking a retrospective look and trying to do a multi-year analysis so that we can say more about how people are actually exposed. You had seen now the populations exposed maps, but you can also see here the maps of actual concentrations for PM2.5, for NO2, for ozone. You can also see preventable deaths, which always is something that is very popular with media. When we release new data on premature deaths due to environment in Europe, that always gets a lot of attention. As you can see, the maps are also at different levels of detail. That's because we have different levels of granularity for the various data streams. We have included here also not only maps, but also viewers that allow the user to interact with the data in very simple and intuitive ways. So this is about as complicated as it will get, where people are able to just hone into specific facilities and so get information about the flows of pollutants that are coming out of those industrial facilities. So in this case, for instance, it's both air pollution and water pollution. And so you can check all of those data. And you can actually even, in the learn more, go into where those data come from. So we're hoping that by making this sort of uber local approach, it will make it more relevant for most of our users. So we have maps that are, and viewers that are similar to those for most of these topics. So in the water, for instance, we have another one that is actually quite popular, which is the viewers related to bathing water. This is, again, sort of adapted from another product that we have and simplified so that we can see, you can select, of course, your country, your city. You can actually hone in to specific bathing sites in each one of the countries, right? So you can get the information to those specific places. Sorry, it's not working so well there, but you have to trust me. The information is there. Okay, here's a check your place. We've gotten a lot of good feedback already from this one. So the way it works is you can either here write down an address, or you can use your current location. And I'm hoping it will work, but who knows? It will generate an environmental scorecard. Oh, yeah, let me see. There you go. Maybe if I... now it should work, right? There you go. Well, close enough, right? So here, what you can see already, you have an environmental scorecard of this particular address, right? In terms of concentrations of PM2.5, NO2, ozone, road traffic noise, etc. You can actually share this scorecard, and we give like a warning that you might be sharing your own address and all of that for people. Something that we wanted to make sure is that the user can actually visualize these layers individually, right? And so, for instance, this is a layer where we put together blue spaces and green spaces for the reason that they are both by the focus group users that have been consulted by the EE. They are kind of perceived as very similar. Like if there's like a riverside or a canal that is actually perceived as a green space, even though it may not meet the criteria of experts for a green space. So we put together those things in layers. And so, yeah, we also put whatever possible. Of course, you may be wondering what makes a smiley green, yellow, or red. And whatever possible, of course, it's been evidence-based. And so, for instance, the proximity and amount of green space that is acceptable or healthy is something that has been studied. And this, in particular, comes from WHO guidelines on the matter, or at least recommendations. So, we have the same for like bathing water quality, for road traffic noise in the cities, of course, that have reported road traffic noise, which is the case here. So you can see those separately, and you can also superimpose them if that's of interest for the user. So we were very excited to release this, and actually this is the product for which we're getting by far the most feedback. So this is the one that people are caring the most about. By far. I mean, the rest are like, yeah, okay, this map is interesting, blah, blah, but this one is the one that is getting the attention, and we get a lot of feedback. We're actually getting a lot of feedback also about the nearest public transport stop, which is, I think, the only variable that is not, it doesn't come from us. We're borrowing it from OpenStreetMap. But people feel very strongly about their public transportation, and we think that's a great thing. I don't want to take more time than necessary. I just wanted to show you what the home page looks like, where we'll be, as you can see, we kept it simple. I'm trying to, well, maybe we cannot say it. Anyhow, the other part that we like as well is that the learn more is something that we do a little bit like separately, as in like there's a reflection of every one of the maps that we have here in the Learn More with videos of experts that talk about that topic, links to the data that all of this comes from, and additional information, publications, and briefings. So we're going to be updating this already very soon because we wanted to take into account the feedback that we're getting early on. And then thereafter, we're going to be reaching out to our IONET network, including, of course, Ireland, to see how else we can make this useful and make it relevant for the users. That's all I had for you today. Thanks a lot.
Okay.